Hello everyone. So today's stream, the main um, TV show of today is Capoeiras from Brazil. Recently, I just discovered this TV show and I really got to know culture and something about capoeira in general. Uh, and this TV show itself representing some type of mix of Brazilian culture and, you know, its hidden history or origins of, you know, capoeira. Some people don't even know about. So let's talk about the main characters. And basically, main characters Venena and Ventania. Venania is teaching capoeira, and Venena is currently going to be a master. So there is like a master of capoeira who is just teaching younger people, this martial art. And basically, they are even related or something like he is trying to basically keep her out of all the trouble in this TV show. But she's already like taking lessons from another guy who is like the master, who is more experienced in capoeira than Veneno. And she's going to turn 18 basically soon. So she's basically trying to find her own path in this TV show, and this is pretty much the character who is gonna get in a lot of troubles due to her, free-spirited personality. Veneno, on the other hand, he is more about the control of emotions, and he's trying to solve basically problems by getting agreements with more powerful people. For example, he joined some type of fighting club to fight for money, but he was basically working at that club as a waitress, and at some point basically he just shown his skills in martial art, which is capoeira. And the owner of that place, basically, which is his boss, just offers him to fight for money. And multiple times he fought at that club, not specifically at this club, but they have some other place which is like hidden place from, government or something like underground fighting club. And he's about to set a huge fight basically with his brother, and this fight is gonna be some type of rematch of year. Basically they are gonna put a lot of money on this fight, but the consequences if he just fails this fight will be just a huge disaster for Venena character. So basically who is in charge of this place currently setting some type of fights with the most, interesting fighters, and Venena is basically the best of the best, and his capoeira style is just bringing more basically people to bet on that fight. So he's basically in charge of this place, and he's actually in relationship with this woman, Eve, and her name Eve. She's kind of jealous of her husband, who is in charge of the whole place, trying to basically control not only this business, but he kind of trying to basically control her, and she feels like at some point she will just she will be left empty-handed. Basically, she already cheated on him with main character Venena, which is not a problem for anybody, but her husband is already aware of this, or he is just thinking that she is probably already cheating on him, because she's trying to basically ask questions and some type of like questions that people ask when they probably hiding something, because she is just so, preoccupied with if her husband cheating on her or not. But at the same time, she is already with one of his fighters, basically. And they spent multiple nights together, but at the same time, Venena character is just, compared to her husband, she knows that Venena has nothing to offer her, basically, but his fights and his future fights can bring money that potentially can, give them the life she has now with her husband. But of course, her husband, compared to Venena, when it comes to romance and just, her preferences in men, doesn't meet any of those. And Venena definitely does. And this is why this is like obvious affair, which is, necessary probably in this type of TV show to make the conflict between characters, especially between the main character and the villain, which is her husband. And Venena is gonna be in trouble due to this affair with his wife, basically, with Eve. While they were hiding from everyone, they at the same time were trying to buy some type of place or rent some type of place to basically start his own business. And Eve, she was trying to basically help Venena because of her access to her husband's probably money and contacts. She can basically put together necessary people to set this business, and to make it work. But it's not like they are going to succeed in this field, because we never got a chance to see if they actually launched that business. It feels more like for next season, if it's gonna be next season. So the other character, which is Venena's closest friend or like a sister, they are trying to basically put different storylines in 8 episodes. At the same time, this is not enough to completely develop everyone. So basically, the only character who is getting proper development is the main character Venena, and his friends and relatives, they are like kind of on the background, trying to maintain relationship with him and trying to solve all the problems with their lives, And Venena and Venania basically two protagonists. Her relationship with other characters basically based on her trying to get rid of her mother's overprotecting, like 24/7, and she's trying to basically sneak around and get some time without your mother constantly just controlling her. And due to this, she's getting in a lot of troubles, and not only she's getting herself in multiple dangerous situations, she's bringing another people, because the consequences for her is just don't make her feel like she needs to rethink her actions or something, but she sees that other people trying to basically settle her down a little. But this character is the type of character who is gonna be this the whole season and never gonna change, because for this TV show to work, you need someone who is gonna stir things up, who is gonna be the troublemaker. So she is the troublemaker for Venena, for everyone, for herself. And at the same time, Venena, the character who is just protagonist, and he is the solver for those troubles, and she's his current girlfriend, which is a wife of his boss. Basically, she is drawn to Venena due to his calm and like super masculine personality, I guess. And this is something she is lacking when it comes to her husband, basically, because while her husband is basically in control of everything, he is just generally doesn't meet any of those requirements to have fulfilled life with, and this leads her and Venena in a situation when they either need to hide from her husband or to be a little bit brave and just to do things, discuss something in public, and this way basically her husband noticed that something is going on with the two of them, and he starts basically to suspect that his wife probably cheating on him with this dude, which is his employee. Basically Venena is directly working on him, but at the same time he is with his wife. So this time, they still managed to keep it a secret, but her husband is already suspecting that they are probably sleeping. And the other character who appeared as the supportive character and a fighter for Venena's friend Venania. So basically, Venania was invited to fighting club, and to have an opponent, she was offered basically to fight against this woman. And she was invited due to her personality, energetic and spontaneous, and she just beaten some guys in this club, and she basically shown her skills in capoeira in front of all the people in this club, and this is why she was invited to that fighting club. And she accepted this offer basically to tease her mother and to tease everyone. This is about her personality, how she chooses something and prioritizing basically her needs over, what it could potentially, what it basically can do and what consequences can be after. And she joined that fighting club basically, and she fought right after Venena. So in this TV show you can see multiple fights between different styles like capoeira meeting other martial arts, and the mixture of different styles, but mainly it's Brazilian style, which is capoeira. So this is why this TV show probably pretty good for introduction of Brazilian culture itself, because the martial art capoeira is a huge part of culture, of course, and you can see like some moments, and you can basically understand the technicality, and at the same time you can see the unique moments of people just getting better in that martial art. And at the same time, this is not completely focused on that aspect of Brazilian culture, because this actually offers the variety of subjects and betrayal, the trust in how people can manipulate you, because you have like shared history and you think like people are so trustworthy. For example, between these two guys there is like strong connection, and they have shared history due to their master who teaches them capoeira, and he basically raised them, and they were basically fighting back to back, side by side. And this whole time, basically a lot of secrets and a lot of unknown things made them made them basically having secrets from each other, But at the same time, they are ready to fight for each other. But the TV show just keeping that secret of one huge event in their past and who basically was involved in that situation. The TV show just keeps it a secret till very ending, and it's just entertaining you, but at the same time, it's not like this is the main point of the TV show, because the main point basically is just fighting and the performance of fighters, because performance doesn't look fake. For example, a lot of fighting and like this type of movies, TV shows, they put the fakest like fighting scenes, and this is where this TV show shine, like, and doing the best probably. So when it comes to like technical and the performance of those fighting moments, specifically capoeira itself, the TV show manages to keep consistency and show you the most like the closest to reality fights, so they do not seem fake or staged completely, even though they are rehearsed, just fightings, At the same time, this TV show represents the variety of characters who basically fighting for own needs of, for example, every character has his own storyline, but it's not like supportive characters, for example. They have like their storylines, but the TV show just cannot basically show you enough of that storyline to understand the real like intention. For example, the character who was involved in that affair with the main character Venena, she will end up in charge of the whole place because of her husband basically died in that riot, and the chaos that happened in episode 8 led her to be in charge of this club, or she basically opened her own fighting club. But the TV show didn't empathize. The TV show didn't really empathize that this is the fighting club or something. We didn't get the explanation of what exactly her business is gonna be, but she is already in charge of it. But if it's gonna be next season, so she's probably gonna be in that position of main boss who was previously her husband. That position was taken by her husband, and she is now like free from his, toxic personality. Basically, her colleague, we can see, is the fighter, another woman who was fighting in this club. And now she and that woman basically, they seem like they are going to be characters, either main or supportive characters of next season. But TV show basically ends with it like ambiguous moment when we cannot really understand if it's gonna be continuation or if it's just ended like this. So to have the answer on whether it's gonna be next season or not, the only way we just can get that answer is to wait till it's confirmed. But if we just trying to understand the whole state of Portuguese TV shows and specifically Brazilian TV shows, like where currently they are, what state it is, like how bad or good it is. I'm trying to understand, and just to get enough content to understand what potentially Brazilian TV shows, movies can be released in the future, and what we can expect from Brazilian, from Latin America, from different countries, from different continents. And I'm trying to understand by watching like current recent TV shows and to put together that shape, that state, and to see if it's really working or not. But Brazilian TV shows, they basically have the same probably issue when it comes to representation of culture or something. They do pretty good, but when it comes to international viewers and to keep them engaged, basically they cannot just sustain the they cannot basically sustain that pace that required these days to basically produce a lot of good TV shows and to make people overseas, to make them love your content, to keep them engaged, basically. This is what Brazilian TV shows, this is what basically all Portuguese TV shows lacking, that consistency in production to basically keep viewers engaged like for whole year, not only for a specific period, but to keep viewers, and especially international viewers, engaged and following your social medias, actors, actresses, to basically understand what's going on in that TV show. For example, you need like at least another season, right? You need to get some type of explanation, continuation of storyline. So I'm pretty sure that one season is not enough for this TV show to understand that Portuguese TV shows doing well right now. I cannot say you that Portuguese TV shows in a good shape, because getting one good TV show a year, it's not just enough. It's just pretty little. And all other stuff on YouTube, miniseries, Portuguese TV shows on YouTube, created by, let's say, not professionals. There cannot be, considered as international for international viewers. They cannot be considered, or they cannot indicate the state of Portuguese production, because they created completely for different purpose. They created for just YouTube, and this TV show, for example, is just a good indicator of how good recent Portuguese Brazilian production is, how good they're doing right now, how good their capability of creating something quality. And so let's see what they can come up with in the future, because the whole picture is just better when you can get at least something to compare. And at this point, we have nothing to compare, to compare this TV show to something similar or to another Portuguese TV show. But maybe you know something that I missed. So if you know Portuguese TV shows good, or just TV shows that worth watching, share it, and I probably do something about it. At least we can just show them and probably expose to more people, because it needs exposure. And the lack of exposure is the other problem for Portuguese TV shows, because while it's really good TV show with production and all stuff, just, but the lack of exposure contributes to this TV show being just left out. So there are a lot of people who just don't know exactly this TV show exists, For example, Capoeiras just released a few days ago. So how much people know about this? I think only people like inside Brazil and some Portuguese audience, the core audience, probably aware. But how much people know like outside of Brazil? I guess this is just a little niche situation when you can find this TV show. For example, I was looking for something and I found it, but I was looking specifically for Brazilian TV show. But if you're trying just to watch something and you just, go and trying to find something, there is little possibility that you run into this TV show, because it doesn't get recommendations to international viewers. This is the problem. So the lack of exposure is the main reason why Portuguese, Brazilian TV shows, they just stuck there, and that lack of exposure just hinders, for example, Capoeiras TV show from being recognized by wider audience. And while there are a lot of characters, for example, like fighters, different styles fighting against each other. The whole, like, the whole point of TV show itself is just to introduce you Brazilian culture, not only fighting, not only capoeira, but to introduce you Brazilian traditions or something, because the TV show contains a lot of like moments when it comes to spiritual, like traditional and other type of events, and it can be easily considered as, a source of inspiration for those people who is trying to learn something about Brazil and Brazilian culture. But it needs a little exposure to be fully appreciated, So let's say the other, like the other stream about Portuguese show that we had before this stream was about little like mini TV show on YouTube. And I was trying to show you like the difference, and now like to see the state of the Brazilian production, we need something like one more TV show to see the whole picture. So the difference between like the difference between the level of production, between different levels of production, is pretty clear. But what is like the highest level, the highest possible level of Brazilian production? This is what I'm trying to understand, because just to see all possibilities of Brazilian studios, Brazilian filmmakers, you need to get something super like complex. And this TV show is kind of that type of TV show, but at the same time it just lacks depth, a little depth, lack of exposure, and the development of characters like some of the main and support characters. So, but to get something complete, to get something like, to get something in the future, and to see all that, that this TV show lacking in that future TV show. This is what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find something I'm missing from other, Portuguese TV shows. So if you know that TV show, basically, if you know something from Portuguese, from Portuguese production, if you know something from Brazil, if you know something, and if you know the title, I need just title, and to create another video about Portuguese shows, I need another TV show, but it should be something really big, and it should be like on another level, you know. But still, this TV show definitely worth watching, and this is the like good, entertaining show you can definitely, you know, pay attention to. So thank you for watching. This is Capoeiras 2025 Brazilian TV show. See you later, but I'm not sure with what exactly, so we find out when we get it. Thank you.